Grave Reviews, this is Chris.
Have you checked the children?
There's no children here. It's not safe for them.
This is Alan, and Chris is right. Grave Reviews is intended for mature audiences. Your discretion is advised. Grave Reviews presents Thursday Night Frights.
Ladies and gentlemen, how is everyone this evening? Great. And the crowd's going nuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay.
Good to hear it. Good to hear it.
Good to hear it. Nice stuff. Anyway, that being said, in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Grave Reviews. My name is Alan, and my co-host Chris. Chris, how is you this evening, sir?
I am here, sir. I'm with you, sir. We're gonna talk some horror movie. Horror what's
We're-
a horcom?
we're gonna call this one a horror movie, but we're gonna call it a light horror movie
Yeah.
because I'm not sure how horror filled this one is.
Horrom.
Yeah,
Horrom.
it's not horror adjacent, but it's pretty damn close.
There's a love story and it's scary.
And it's in its own right. I tell you what, all right. So Odd Thomas, the show that we're watching tonight. Here we go.
Hi LG, can you hear me now? How's about now?
I'm gonna adjust mine down and bring him up a little bit. Can't hear him. I don't understand this because
Hello. Well, wait. She said it once and then you adjusted, so a little better. Well, I can go up.
I just brought you up on my side as well, so.
Right. How about now, LG? Are we good? Because we're good behind the scenes. And as soon as you go live, it's all over.
It's really weird because it literally is a situation where, perfect. Hopefully that works really well. Anyway, so tonight we're talking about Odd Thomas. Odd Thomas is a Dean Koontz novel that spawned a series of novels. I think there's how many of them now, Chris? Is there like 6 total?
Seven books and a couple short stories / novellas. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
And Chris and I were just talking in general one day, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of Odd Thomas?" And Chris was like, "Oh my God, I love the novels," and blah blah blah. And I was like, "Well, what about the story? Have you heard of the movie?" And he's like, "Oh, I love the movie too." So this is one of those things that a lot of people don't necessarily know about unless they happen to be a Dean Koontz fan or they've read the novels. This movie almost fell complete. Matter of fact, this movie almost didn't get released.
Yeah, just shut down a couple times while they were making it.
And then legal issues with the distribution and it went onto a shelf and sat there for over 2 years. Then they finally released it, and when they did, they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know what they had. They didn't know if it was, was it a horror film? Was it a love story? Well,
Kids
all I
watch it.
yeah, and so they really just didn't know what to do, so to speak, which I think caused this movie to fall into obscurity, which is really sad because everyone that I've talked to who's ever watched it really likes this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And
This was a good film, and it was a good character from the written word coming
Yes.
over to film.
yes,
And it's a fascinating story. I love the series.
yes.
In fact, I found out today exactly that I've missed the last two, and what I thought was the end was not the end. So,
So I know someone who's going to be reading some books here soon.
indeed.
So that's awesome. And it was funny because you said that, and I said to you, I'm pretty sure that I've read all of those,
Mm.
but this is one of those rare series, and it's not the Dark Tower. Don't get me wrong when I say this, but I've read a couple of these books more than once, same as I did with the Dark Tower. It's Odd he's an odd character, yes, and
Yes.
I absolutely I love him. And the thing that I love about this movie that I had totally forgotten about from the first 2 times or so I saw it, watching it to get ready for the show is the banter between him and his girlfriend, Stormy,
Yeah.
is so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They complement each other so well.
They really do, and then I also was like, "Oh, that's William Dafoe."
Right.
You know? I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yeah. Solid
Anyway,
movie, good casting.
yeah.
As far as that goes, Willem Dafoe, he makes a great quirky like police detective. He's a chief in this one. There's just something about him. He comes off as, I don't know, somewhat of authority, but very down to earth.
Yes, yes, and which, the even in the books, I think he played that role so very well,
Definitely.
because as I was saying, just like in the books themselves, he came across that same way, that down to earth, person, and Chief Porter was just, I mean, he was a great guy, just a
Yeah.
great guy. Mr. Armstrong just came in. Nice to see you, sir. Did hopefully you got a chance to watch Odd Thomas this week before you came in. I know you said last week that you were going to try to do so. Um, so let's jump into this one with both feet,
Sure.
and we'll take them through the movie, and yes, we're going to spoil this from 2013. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Had some time. It's been on Tubi.
I tell you what, I'll tell you what. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now. You ready? Go on your mark, get set, go. Okay, we're back. So that you should have seen it, and now you love it just as much as we do. Chris, let's go. Let's take them through it.
Now we can review the movie. So,
Because we
just viewed that movie. So we open on the town of Picomundo. It's your small town. You get the vibes of small yet big enough, suburb. So we open on this town, and our main character narrates to him and gives you a little bit about himself. What his name is Odd. The story, whether it was Odd or it was supposed to be Todd and they forgot a T, or his father just said, no, you were supposed to be Odd from the beginning.
yeah, and we come to find out that he really is
Very.
just a little odd.
They fleshed this character out. Kuntz did a really great job of making it make sense, and they carry that over to the movie where he has a special gift where he talks to, where I got to get the quote just right, but I talk to dead people, but then I do something about it.
But then I do something about it. Exactly. Hello, Tina. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he attaches this character that way. He's like, okay, so yeah, it's got a sixth sense vibe to it, but
Right.
it's nowhere near the I'm afraid. It's more the I see them and I'm going to help them. And I love the way this movie starts because of the self narration.
Yeah.
You get to jump right into the fact that he's helping a dead person.
Yeah. A young girl comes to him and can't speak. We're told very early on that the dead don't speak. They do everything but we see through the movie, but there's no audio between the dead and the living. So it's a young girl that basically shows up to Odd, which on his way through the town, to where he's going, as well as when we meet Harlow, y- everybody knows Odd, and everybody knows he's a little odd, and but nobody knows his secrets.
Well,
He
almost nobody.
almost nobody knows his secrets because basically his mother had gifts, as the movie portrays. Maybe the same, maybe they're not. Uh, it's not the same in the book, but she goes crazy and gets locked up because basically she comes at her father with a knife,
Yeah.
and they lock her up right away. He
Such
was
a
12.
great, and it's funny, it's such a great scene too because it literally was just like just all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah, like,
It's
oh.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
so
they
funny.
were battling over whether she was crazy or not. My father won that by having her locked up.
Yeah, and my father won that battle, and my wife was or my mother is now in an institution.
Right. And basically he believes that he got his abilities from her. That's how they set it up. And but because of that, he didn't tell many people because he didn't want to get locked up either.
Yeah, he didn't want everyone to think he was crazy. And we come to find out as the movie's going on, there's literally, as of right now, anyway, there's only two people that know his secret. One of which is, of course, our sheriff Porter.
Chief Porter. Yep.
Thank you, Chief, not sheriff, and his girlfriend, the lovely Stormy Llewellyn.
Stormy. Right. And so Penny Callisto shows up at Odd's door in the beginning of this film, and he says, "Penny Callisto. She's a missing girl in the area. She leads our guy out of his home because he knows when they show up, they showed up to tell him something. Obviously, she was a missing girl, so she's come to say, hey, this guy killed me. He's probably going to do it again. Follow
Yes.
me, take you right to him." And it's great that he heads out and beautiful car comes up, pulls up, and it's our guy Harlow, who knows Odd. Hey Odd, how you doing?
Harlow is played by Matthew Page. And Matthew Page, if you as soon as you see him, if you've been on the internet at all, you'll know him. He does the funny karate videos on the internet, and he's so flippin' funny. So what not knowing who it was the first time, but watching it this time, I was like, oh, that's the guy who does
Amaradote.
with the thing and stuff.
Right.
So sorry,
Oh,
continue.
all good. So, Harlow's there, and Odd knows right away that because not only can he see the dead, but he gets premonitions. He touches things. He gets, that historic knowledge that comes with a car being around. And when he touches the car, he sees poor Penny Callisto in her battered and bruised state,
Mhm.
clothing ripped. And Harlow's just like, "Hey, don't touch the car." And he's like, "Yeah, it's too bad cars don't love back, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's weird." And he's like, you've got her blood in your pocket. And if I were to say that to anybody else, that would sound crazy, but not to you."
You know exactly what I'm talking about. And of course, he is, which is funny. He didn't throw it in gear and take off, right? He
No
jumps
fear.
out the car and takes off running.
Well, he reaches in and grabs those keys.
Oh, that's
Like,
right. He does. That's right. He
yep,
does.
he reaches in and snatches the keys and he, "Give me those back." And that's when he says, and he said, "You took a small piece of cloth from her and soaked it in her blood, and now it's in your pocket. It's like a cracker. It's all dried up," which is crazy. Right away, he knows he knows that
Yeah.
he knows. Harlow jumps out of the car and takes off running. And we learn that he's not the first type of guy like this I have met or I have dealt with. And I like my face. And in order to keep my face, I learned to defend
I've
myself.
learned how to handle myself. And so it doesn't turn into like, kung fu karate kind of thing. It's just, he just, you wouldn't think Anton Yelchin at this point in his career would be a convincing fighter. He was,
Yep.
and I love the fact that they didn't go all Jason Bourne on him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You could tell he was struggling to keep his face in one place, but
Oh
he
yeah,
was
and he took a couple shots.
but
He's
he was
not
keeping it in one place.
he's not perfect, but you start throwing long haymakers, I can block them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and I got some judo throws in there, and basically there's a chase through the town, Odd running after this guy, apologizing for everything this guy does. Like, "Sorry about the trash over here. Sorry, Mister Saline over here," because he knocked them down, and they bust in on a pool party with a bunch of kids, and which this is the weird part that they beat each other up a little bit, and the kid says, "Mommy," and the guy's like, "Surrounded by people. I'm gonna go take the kid hostage."
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
okay, well, this is why you deserve to get caught. And he goes to grab the kid, and Odd gets there in time and smashes a lamp over his head. And the cops come, and we learn that Chief is like, "You come to me when you get these feelings." We
It's
we
so
could
much
have found a reason to do it, and we could do it as less violent when we do it this way.
Yeah, and less stuff gets broke.
Right. And he's
And I
like,
love
listen, the only thing was the honey bear lamp and the clown mirror. That's on me.
yeah,
Because
yeah, or the TV or something. He goes,
right.
"That's on me." But
Yeah.
other than that, it was all
Yeah.
him. I love that line, and you're starting to see that the relationship with Odd, um, the same lightheartedness that he did during the talking directly to the audience at the beginning
Mhm.
is also the way he talks to other people in town. So that's just you come very quick to find out that that's just who he is,
He's
and
a nice
that's
kid.
and that's the character that even through the novels that I fell in love with. So that's I
He's
think
an
he did a great job. I
he's a
really
nice kid that you would underestimate because you think he's a kid, but no, he can handle himself, and he knows things. What's up, Keith? So, yeah, we so the chief is trying to explain to him like what listen, good thing that blood wasn't the only thing. We found some photos
right,
um post-mortem of Penny that he had on her. And so listen, if anybody asks, he went to take money out and a picture fell out. And that's how you knew.
right.
Because we don't want to get the secret out. You don't want to let these things happen.
No.
People know.
And
And
not only that, but as a let's be honest with you, as a police officer, you're not going to be able to convict this guy based on the premonition
right.
of this the psychic thing, whatever. All right, so I have to interrupt for just 1 second.
Yeah.
This goes out not only to you but also to the chat room. Um, uh, I think it was kind of a local thing in Cincinnati, but do you guys remember the electric company? It was like a kids show,
Oh yeah.
right? I don't know why, but when Keith came in and he typed in "Hey guys," I heard "Hey you guys." I know it's just who I am. I'm
It
weird
happens. He's a little odd.
like promise. Anyway, mm, uh, so
So
uh,
yeah, so basically that's the chief. That's the relationship he has, with him, that the chief believes him, knows that this kid sees dead people. He knows things. I
yeah,
trust him.
there's
But
a
I
lot.
can't just arrest people because I believe a psychic said it.
Yeah, and there's a line later in the show where the William Defoe's literally says, "Hey, you've never been wrong. I can't not take your word, but I
Right.
still have to follow the rules."
Right.
Kind of a
And if
thing.
I were to lock up anybody that was strange and suspicious, then you'd be in jail a long time ago.
Oh yeah, no
You know? Good
doubt.
point. Good point.
Yes, 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 yes. So then we wind up actually with Odd in his natural habitat
His dream
is
state.
no his fry cook.
Ah, right. We learn a little bit about the fry cook as he's talking to some of the kids that are watching him dice and slice and everything. Where it's you know, give me a couple eggs and wreck them. That's scrambled. Stretch it. Add another egg. All the little terms of the diner, and the kids love him. And this is his character.
And I love it when he looks up at him. He's like, "Hey, ladies," and you see them, and they're all like 9-year-olds.
Right.
Like, "Hey,
Giggling.
it's so and they're giggling. It was really, really and then, the way he flips the flapjacks out
Yeah.
onto their plates.
Right.
So this is something that they don't talk about in the movie, but in the book, just so everyone's aware, Odd is extremely proud of his ability to make, flapjacks
Oh
and,
yeah.
to make pancakes.
It's his specialty. Like, and he makes them perfectly.
Yes.
And we
So
meet Stormy here. Stormy is at the diner before she goes off to work at the ice cream shop at the mall. She's sitting with the chief, who's drinking his belly tickler, a little Pepto Bismol. uh,
and I love the fact that her nickname for him is Odd One.
the odd one, or Oddie.
Or Odd. Yeah. She'll how how are you? Oddie. You
Right,
know,
or my
he's
little odd one.
I just
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yep. And she's giving, advice to the chief of police, get your wife chocolates and over flowers. And
Handle.
meanwhile he's got this banter back and forth with between Audie and Stormy that they're like in sync with each other, like he's but at the same time we're also learning about the Bodak,
Yes.
which is a out of Gaelic folklore. It's like a hobgoblin, the old man, basically a trickster. Um, and in the movie, hobgoblin, pretty close creature from the nether realms. They show up for disasters. They show up for violence and gore, not for just a death.
And the more chaotic and violent it is, the more they want to be there. Okay, so this film was made in 2011, released in 2013.
Mhm.
These Bodocs are all CGI,
Yeah,
and they're done very very well. It held. I again watching it just this week. They
it
held
holds.
it holds up
They did the clear.
very
They didn't try to have it manipulate anything. Um, the only true manipulation you saw is later when Odd gets almost sucked into a portal. Um, but other than that, these things are clear. They don't affect the things around them.
Yep.
But nobody can see them. But we learn through a moment in the book, as well as a quick conversation in his own head that with a friend that said, "Oh yeah, I could see him too. I flipped him on off the one the other day," and he was like, "You don't do that
Don't tell
because
them.
if they see you,
Yep.
and they kill you." And yeah, that guy didn't make it. So
He
he
immediately
does.
by a bus. So
Yeah, he didn't. So Odd does his chance like seeing all these creatures around, but pretending that they're not there.
yes.
And one's licking his girlfriend, so he blows her a kiss, just to pretend that they're not there, so he doesn't bring attention to himself. Because looks like it's not good if they see you.
Yeah. And I love the fact that they used the wispy, smoky type effect with them,
Yeah,
because by doing so, you can put them into almost any environment, and it not be something that looks like a computerized cartoon. Um,
true.
so
And he basically says, the death of Penny didn't bring a single one. So we're seeing one now. Something's going on. And now we're seeing more than one. There's a few of them coming in.
there's a
And
bunch, and
we get a very weird dude showing up.
fungus Bob.
Fungus Bob. He looks like he's got a toupee or different color hair on the top or something growing on it. uh,
It's his toupee looks like a curly shag carpet that's yellow in color,
right.
which is why they call him Fungus Bob, because it looks like it's some sort of growth that he chose to put on his head for some reason.
Right, right. And he comes in and brings with him all these Bodocs. So immediately Odd's like, listen, this guy's got something going on because these things are following him because something gruesome is connected to this man.
Yes.
Can't prove anything yet, of course, but I've got to check this guy out
Yep.
because these things are following him. Again, great job of like pretending that he doesn't see these things. Because we will see one of these seems to single Odd out almost every encounter that they have.
Yes.
He shows there's one that looks a certain way, and it seems to just kind of sniff him out an extra second or two before it takes off again.
Yep. Agreed. Yep. And again, just because of the fact, I hate to blabber, but I have to. I was really surprised on how well this, not only this scene, but all of the special effects really held up in this what was a fairly low budget movie when it
Yeah,
was made. And so, kudos to the crew on this.
it was
Absolutely.
done well. It wasn't like the Langoliers.
Oh God. Oh my God.
What the
The fact that
is
you,
that?
yeah, I can't even believe you brought that movie up in my presence. That's funny.
That's so terrible.
You know
As soon
what?
as I saw those things, I was like, no, I'm out. This is
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah, and I saw it on the first showing, so
Mm,
yeah, I'm
no,
with you.
we're good. Um, so I basically uh,
Yeah, I would have died. You could have bet me $1 million that someone would have put the Glearstein, I'd have told you were out of your mind.
Yep. I'm just saying, Botox is very superior to.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They were both made at about the same era. Oh my God, let's just stop. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, this is out of its league here.
absolutely. Uh, Tina, I don't know that it's. I'd have to watch it now because watching it then, I'm not sure. Ugh. Metal
Yeah.
Pac-Mans with teeth.
Right. Yeah. What is this? This is
And then-
dumb.
Ugh. Keep going.
Yep.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
So Odd had a dream with a bunch of people in bowling shirts, took them down, one by one getting shot, and until he was shot, but all of them were killed. So now he's talking to his coworker Vi, who comes to him about a dream because she knows he's got a clairvoyance to him, some sort of psychic. She just assumes, and she's not wrong. That
How do you pronounce that name?
a Gugu Mbata.
She is fantastic. She's been great in everything I've ever seen her in.
Yeah.
So I couldn't remember her name. She is one of those people that if you don't know who it is, if you look up the cast of this, and as soon as you see her face, you're going to go, "Oh, her!
Oh
Okay, cool."
yeah. Right.
She was in the thing with the thing and stuff.
And
Yeah,
you'd be right.
and you'd be right, absolutely. And she was in this movie too. So there's
Right.
that.
Yeah, so she comes to Odd saying, "Listen, I had a dream. I know you can do something, but like I saw my face in my dream." And
Perked him up. Says he's like, "You saw
yeah,
yourself."
you don't see your face in your dream. It's usually it's not clear to you.
Yep.
And I saw my face and I was dying. And there was a lot of people dead. There was a dead person next to me. And what does it mean? And he's like, the good friend doesn't mean anything. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay. But just out of curiosity, what was the dead guy wearing? And she was like, a black and red bowling shirt.
Which
And
is the same thing that he saw.
so they're trying to rack their brains over black and what is that? Wow, the bowling alley place. Those people are like purple, so it's not them.
Yep.
You know whatnot. So of course, Odd, we got to look into this. All these Bodocs around means something big's going on. So he follows Fungus Bob back to Fungus Bob's house. Um, Bob leaves and he goes in and just perfect timing. Stormy calls, loop me in.
I love
Loop
this.
me in, Odd one.
I love it. Okay, so our hero right now is like in a home where poltergeists are causing door handles to freeze and all this stuff's going on around him. He sees this big, gaping hole with all the bodocs that are coming out of it, and it's a celestial plane kind of thing. And the banter between him and Stormy through the whole thing are so damn light.
Oh, it's great. She's because it happens like he goes in and everything's frozen. The birds are frozen, which is a room full of birds of prey. Very strange.
Yep.
And there's what looks to be a portal with like some tentacles coming out of it. And, as one does when you see these things, you put your hand in it. And that was obviously a bad idea because it tries to suck him in. He runs away, and not just a few, not just dozens, hundreds and hundreds of Bodocs end up pouring out of this thing, out of Fungus Bob's house, except for that one that sticks around,
Uh-huh.
almost finds him, gives up right as Stormy decides to call, which perfect timing.
I love it what Stormy says. All right, odd one. I completely forbid you to go back to the what is it to the door to hell or wherever she
Right.
was.
Yeah. And I forbid you to see any more portals to hell or something along those lines. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
forbid you to look up the portal of hell, and he's like,
Right.
well, I didn't really look it up on purpose.
Right.
It's just the way and this is the reason why I say this is a great intro movie to someone who's not a huge horror fan.
Yeah.
Because while all this horrible stuff's going on, they're making so much light of each other that it makes it easier to digest.
Yeah. He's gonna search around the house. What'd you find? Well, he's got like shrines to serial killers all over the place, pictures and memorabilia, and he's like, looks like a place that of that with a guy that would like to make belts out of people's nipples, and she's like, "What?"
You see, no, the funny part is she goes, belts out of nipples while she's at work, and the coworker looks at her like, "What did you just say?"
Little Ed Gein reference. So,
So
um,
funny.
yeah, so he's got, maybe his name's Robert Robertson, um, and maybe he's got his own file, because he's got files of everybody that's in here. Cardboard cutout of Elvis, hilarious, because that's a nod to the books. Ghost Elvis follows Hot around, and has some commentary through the series of Odd
Yes.
Thomas. It's
Yeah,
great.
and it's funny, I've told people about that, and they kinda give me a side eye, and I'm like, "Really? No." You
No,
have
it's
to
worth it.
you have to
It's
read it
good.
because it's the way it's handled is handled so
Yeah,
well.
Kuntz did a great job with adding it. And I'm glad they at least nodded to the fact, because
Yep.
I don't think it would transfer to film as well as it does in the
Oh,
book. But
absolutely not. It would make it because I mean, who are you gonna
people
get.
would be like, "Oh, it's so campy."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah, well, we like a little bit of camp, and
a little
this movie
bit.
has a little bit of camp, but not that would have been too much, I believe.
Right. So they look in. Of course, Robert Robertson has his own file, and the only thing that's in it is a calendar page for August 15th, which is the following day.
Yep, which is the tomorrow of that world.
Right. So hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these Bodocs around. Something big is happening somewhere near to Picamundo. And as he describes to the chief, when he goes back to the chief with the little bit that he's gained from breaking and entering, um, that that uh, this is hell on earth that's coming to this town. Like, this isn't hyperbole. This is real. Like, these things don't show up unless something big's going down, and there's so many going on right now that
Something big going on.
huge. So
Sorry, you know what I heard in my head. Keep going.
all right. There is a little one-off. Like, he gets out, goes back, goes to the mall, runs into Oz, which I wish we would have seen more of Oz
Yes.
in the movie, played by Patton Oswalt. That, did you make the thing for me? Yes, I made it for you. And he's breaks it up, and it opens a box, and there's this steel heart, like the organ, you know, made out of steel. So he's some sort of jeweler. And he's like, "No, I said a piece of steel that would go over your heart." And he's like, "No, no, no, no." He's like, "Well, the art takes its own form. You have to, let it build. And this is what it talked to me and said." Yeah.
It's just it was just so funny. He goes, "What is this?" It's the heart you asked for.
Yeah.
No, no,
No.
yes, yes, yes.
So then this is a recurring dream. He doesn't know who it's for, but he knows he had to make something like this to give to someone because he had a dream of someone getting shot in the chest.
Yes.
So he's not sure who's it's going to need, but if it was going to be Stormy and he learned that, he would already have something made to give to her as a
And that
necklace.
was actually what he was afraid of. He was thinking that it was going to be Stormy,
Right.
um, but that, as the movie goes on, you come to find out that maybe is just not the case.
No, no. And let's see. So we run into Simon the cop, who's at this
Bowling alley.
the bowling alley. They're looking around. We find out that the bowling people
Mhm.
have changed their shirts. They're no longer that purple or whatever color it was. They are in the black and red. They're brand new
Yes.
shirts.
Yes.
So more of this story is coming to show that something's happening tomorrow. But we're getting when tomorrow, midnight, 12:01, or
Right.
sometime tomorrow. We still don't know.
So
Um,
he calls his friend and says, "Hey, could you send someone to the bowling alley?"
Right. Just to, check it out. And uh the cop Simon shows up, and in passing, he has a tattoo, and Stormy picks it up, and, is just kind of like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Oh, well, when I was a kid, I was stupid, and I did a lot of things, and I wouldn't, utter the obscenity that this actually is."
Yeah, and the tattoo is 3 letters. It's POD,
Yeah, and I don't think he meant the rock band POD.
payable upon death. No, payable on no, he did
No,
not.
no. Well,
Although that was actually what
we
went on.
did a movie to kind of name this.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a callback for those of you who don't understand.
All right, go check out our library.
Callback.
So right away, I get that guy's a dick. I don't know if he's just a dick or if he's the dick.
Well, he's one, at that point, you're just like, I just don't care for him because
Yeah.
everyone that you've met in this town to this point has been someone that's been like, oh, I like them. They're pretty. I could see
Yeah.
myself having a
You
bourbon,
have the ones that like the rich girl, Lizette, that is, one of those people that made fun of him through high school.
right?
And now I love the fact that, he's over there cooking with the sheriff or with the chief, and she comes over and she's hitting on him hard, and he just, what Stormy says. Yeah,
Yeah.
Stormy and I, like,
Storm.
just smooth as like piss off, like politely.
Literally, he could have went, well, stormy storm, storm, stormy storm, stormy, stormy storm, storm, storm.
Right.
Her other stormy storm.
Hmm.
Literally
Hmm.
could have been what he did. It was so funny.
Right. So this is all about Odd's way of doing things is all a puzzle. He doesn't get these premonitions that spell everything out for him. He
Yes.
has to find this stuff. He has to go to places, he has to touch things, he has to get all the information in order to try to figure this out because we're running out of time. So he goes back to Viola's house, and got to talk to her because she had a dream, same dream. And I need to know more about it. So he goes over there and basically has her close her eyes, and we go through basically she's running, the flashing lights, all of the little bits of this thing. They're putting it together like, is it a stadium? Because there's like a roar of a crowd. There's water. We're not sure what this is yet. Um,
Mhm.
it gave a little bit of pieces that basically she was one of the people that were lying on the ground dead with this other dead person.
Yes.
And again, being the good friend that he is, telling her, it doesn't mean anything, you're going to be okay. And then, but get out of here. And she's like, if I leave, can we leave? And as a good friend, he can't lie to her.
Mhm.
And he's like, listen, fate forks sometimes. And sometimes those forks bend right back around to put you where you're supposed to be in the end anyway. So you have free will, or is it the illusion of free will?
Yeah.
Not quite sure.
Yeah. And I love the fact that he's like, leave, go to your grandmother's. Don't call her and tell her you're coming.
Right.
Don't tell anyone else you're coming. Don't tell the kids where you're going. Just go. But this was all said after he went upstairs and checked on the kids and noticed the bodocks were all over the room where the kids
Sniffing
were.
the kids and
Yeah.
and the horror in his face and just like, "Oh, everything's fine." And again, a moment with that other Bodoc, like,
Yep. Yep.
oh,
Yep.
everything's a-okay in here. So yeah, as they move on, we go outside and there's a scream. And I love this part because Stormy's like, oh, that's for you.
Yeah. And it really was. I mean, that was just the way she did. Oh, well,
That's for you. And what we see is Lizette is running for her life. And not only is she running for her life, but she's got these two scary dogs that were at Fungus Bob's house chasing her down.
yes.
And Odd gets there right at the time that the neighbor guy comes out with a gun and shoots the two dogs, but Lizette has already been killed.
Hmm.
There was nothing that could be done. The neighbor guy seems to be beating himself over there, crying.
Yep.
Again, the the chief comes over and he's like, "You're always here," and he gives the chief the steel heart and says, "Listen, just do me a favor and put this on. I don't know why. Like,
Yep.
he's got this feeling. Wear this."
And then Officer Nico, comes up and he's all like, well, where were you? What were
Right.
you doing? And all this to Odd, kind of like trying to throw the blame towards him.
Right. Why are we looking for this Robert Robertson guy? Like, what's
Yes.
so suspicious about him? And he tells
Yes.
him that, him and I, we got into a scuffle, and he said, and Stormy comes out and says, no. He said something inappropriate to me, and Odd stepped in, and
Yep.
he got creepy. And Simon's like, a couple hours ago,
Well,
really?
we kind of we actually skipped over an important part right before this. Odd and Stormy were having a picnic.
Oh yeah. Well, we go up to that's true.
Yeah, and it's kind
He
of
races off from that little murder thing.
yeah, the murder thing.
Um, it's to go have a picnic with um uh Stormy in the belfry of the church. And that's where they see Robert Robertson coming at them,
Yeah.
and they escape.
Can we continue calling him by his nickname, please?
Fungus Bob.
Fungus Bob. Just because I like
Fungus Bob.
it. Just because
Fungus Bob.
I
He's a fun
so
guy.
Fungus Bob comes running in and Odd grabs Stormy and says, let's get into the church, and they try to escape into the church, and then they run into the rectory, and they're hearing all this stuff going on, and he's like, he goes, my plan is I'm going to open this door. If
Yeah,
he
because
attacks
first he
me,
goes to the back door and he's like, I think we're running right back into danger.
right. He goes, so I'm going to open this door, and if he attacks me, you go out that door. And
Right.
she's like, odd one. This does not sound like a fun, like a smart plan. He goes, well, it's the only one I got for now, so we kind of got to go with
Right.
it.
And I love he gets over to the door and he goes and she's like, what's that mean? Does that mean go? Shit, sorry. Okay, yeah. you know. And right as he opens the door, looks out, nobody's there. The back door's banging. They just escape. You hear the door being torn apart and things smashing.
Yes. So
Um, that's important later because now that we've finished the night off, everything's been scary. Go home. That's the chief's orders. Go home. Take Stormy home. You go home.
yes, and this there's a line in this next scene that is just so quick, but it's awesome. So Stormy's getting in bed, and ladies and gentlemen, if you've never, if we haven't told you yet, Stormy is played by one Addison Timlin, and she is a very attractive young lady, and she's wearing like lace
Lace boy shorts.
boy shorts.
Yeah.
And just real quick, Odd goes, "Oh, I'm trying to concentrate here.
Yeah. I'm like, I need to focus.
I need to focus."
And the next scene is him outside.
Yeah,
like,
which kills me because I'm like, "Yep, that's exactly where I would have been." I'd been like, "Oh God, I can't, gotta
yeah, you
go."
have to stay awake to save everyone that might die. Well, can't do it in here. So,
Although, if he would have stayed, maybe he could have just saved Stormy and called it a day.
it could have,
You know?
which is possible. He saw the van pull up outside, figured, oh, the chief's got some surveillance going on for my girlfriend. I'm taking off.
Yes.
He goes back to his apartment, and lo and behold, we find Fungus Bob
Bob.
in the bathtub, throwing up. He's dead.
Oh,
But stuff is spilling out of his mouth, and a gun laying in the middle of Odd's floor. I know a setup when I see one.
exactly. Odd's like, I know a setup when I see one. um,
Right.
and the only thing Odd can do at this point in his own defense is to buy time. And so what's he do? He does exactly what I would not have done.
Yeah.
I think I would have called my good buddy Chief Porter and said, "Hey,
Listen,
we got
give
a
me 24 hours
right.
because this and while he's rolling him up in a sheet to pack him away, he realizes this dude's far along in his rigor mortis and he's ice
Yes,
cold. And oh, the Fungus Bob we saw at the church was dead Fungus Bob. And he
because
was a pissed off poltergeist
and he
coming
goes,
through the
and
door.
he goes, Stormy never saw him. Oh,
Right,
that's how he put it together. It
right.
was like,
Oh yeah.
so
So yeah, so he's I gotta hide the body. So he borrows a neighbor's car, which is great because he ties his body up, throws it over the thing, hits the ground. Boom. Light comes on from the neighbor downstairs. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just me. Light goes off. Opens up the trunk, throws the guy in the trunk, slams the trunk, light goes on. Still just me. Okay,
I need to
light goes
borrow
back
the
on.
car.
Light goes back off. And takes him to one of the last place anybody would guess, a former prison turned restaurants, which one had some tasty fries, except they still had the gas chamber.
So Odd throws him in the gas chamber and shuts the door. And I love it. He's like, no one will bother you in here.
Right. Get a little all by yourself. And he's stowing him there so because he needs the time. He can't be wrapped up and be even just arrested on suspicion, knowing the
Yes.
chief would find him a way out of there and find whoever's responsible.
Yes.
I need to be around to put this puzzle together because we still don't know what's going to happen here. And on the way back, Bodocs are everywhere. They're they're all over the car. They're running through the street. There's thousands of them now. So
It's getting to
imminent danger.
yeah, it's getting to the point that it's like whatever's going to happen is getting ready to happen.
Right. And I love the calls back and forth between the chief and Odd because him and his wife are like in bed and being intimate, and Odd calls and he answers right away and he's talking, and like as they're talking the wife's getting the conversation too, so she's laughing and he takes the pillow and puts it over her face on the phone and then takes it off, and the look she gives him like, do that again.
Yeah, it, again, William Defoe.
Yeah.
What can you
It's
say?
great. And at one point, like, so at one point the chief and his wife are downstairs and somebody pulls the trigger and shoots the chief.
Not
Chief
once,
goes down.
multiple times.
Yeah, boom, 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 boom. Like there was several rounds shot. He goes down, and of course, Odd runs to the hospital, and come to find out he was wearing the steel heart. Carla, his wife, comes out, hands him this, and said, "You saved his life." And there's a bullet in one spot and a hole, and he's like, "Where did that one go?" And she said, "That's the one they're digging out of him."
Yeah.
And so now it's personal. Somebody knows that Odd's onto him because these Bodocs know I can see them.
Yeah.
They're using the Bodocs, or at least the Bodocs are manipulating me
Yes.
to go ways. And we're putting all these, getting most of the puzzle together. We just don't know where this is going to happen. I can go through my notes here. They all flip
Well,
together.
basically, what happens at this point is that Odd, Odd is
He goes back to Fungus Bob's house.
Yes.
It's got to be the place. He was killed over this. We got to figure it out. So we go into the Fungus Bob's house again. Stormy, impeccable timing.
Yes.
Calling, loop me in. Okay. Oh, well, you've never made that noise before.
Yeah. Well, remember when we talked? Because earlier in the movie, she asked him, "Well, is the head in the refrigerator?"
Right. Right. And he's like, fingers. She's like, they better be connected to a hand. No,
No.
they're in the refrigerator. There's cockroaches everywhere.
Why do there always have to be
There's teeth in a box. And of course, there's a head in the freezer.
and she goes, "Where are you?"
What did I say? I swear you to never go again.
Didn't I tell you to never go there again?
Of course. So Bob shows up.
Fungus Bob shows up, and
He's a ghost. And he's swinging at Odd, and Odd casually just says, "Man, why is it that this is my realm, Bob? You can't hurt me here." Well, Bob's already realized bullshit. I found I had poltergeist powers back at the church, and starts making the house go haywire.
He literally throws a refrigerator at him.
Everything. Until Odd's on the ground. He's been hit with a bunch of things, and we smell gas. They've ruptured the gas line. He gets out just in time to get in the car to almost get hit with the refrigerator again.
Oh, it was so well done, and the fact that when he got in the car and he just started up putting gear, he just went like out the window like this.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
drove off like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
it'll happen.
He races back to check on Fungus Bob because there's got to be something he's missing. He's realizing the gunshot in the chest. He's wearing the shirt that's in my dream. I
Right.
wasn't dreaming of the chief getting shot. I was dreaming of Fungus Bob getting shot. Race back to Bob, open up the gas chamber, which Bob is not doing well in this
No.
gas chamber, enclosed chamber in the summer in a
Mm,
desert.
mm,
There's some assembly required.
yeah.
He's got a roach coming out of his mouth. He's got
Why do there always have to be
yeah, exactly. He pushes the shirt away to find, lo and behold, POD.
the same? And he literally that's where he puts together what POD means too.
I've had some run-ins with devil worshippers in the past, and
Yes.
I've seen this before. Prince of
Prince of
Darkness. Son of a bitch, damn devil worshippers out here. Not listening to Iron Maiden and stuff. They're just being dicks and they're cops.
Yes. So he knows at this point in time he's got to get back to basically he's got to get back to Stormy,
Right.
you know. Um
Yeah, because now he's putting together that, oh shit, Werner, Simon Werner over there, the cop that had the tattoo, he's the one that's probably watching Stormy.
yes.
What's going on? Runs into was Eccles, the other cop, and you know he seems upset about the chief. Like we're gonna get whoever did it. Um,
Yeah.
we're racing back, and what do you know that Lizette shows up, and Lizette's like, "Guess who got me?" It was the other cop.
Yeah.
A bunch of photos had fallen out of a folder that he had in the car that she saw. He's the one that killed her.
I love how she was she basically led him to the mall and how she's standing there by the truck waving her arms at him.
Right.
I was like, this is again because they can't
Yeah.
the dead don't speak.
Yep.
So well done.
We
So
find out that this is what's happening. It's the mall. The flashing lights was the carousel. The roar of the crowd was the game that's on all the TVs in the sports bar. The everything's coming together. We got to find out. Goes down to the security office, and that's where Eccles is, and smashes his face with a baseball bat really well.
he
Um,
does, yes.
however, he only takes the handgun, doesn't take the MP5 that the guy had. He might not wake up anytime soon. He did smash him pretty good.
He did hit pretty hard.
So he's following through. On the way through, we've got a guy shooting, starts the shooting up. And he's got 4 rounds in this gun. He goes toe to toe with the guy, and with a little bit of luck, shoots him, takes him down to find out it was the neighborly guy that shot the dogs.
And who
He
was
was in on this too.
Yep.
So now where's Werner? Where's the asshole? Well, Lizette's over there. Hey, over here. Races him down underneath this mall to find a truck where she disappears into it. I love the fact that he grabs the guy next to him. He's like, "You got a drill or something?" And he's like, "Who the hell are you?" "I'm a cop, and there's something in here. So either help or get the fuck out of the way."
And he goes, I got a saw.
Grinds it off, and the whole thing is full of fertilizer, and it's counting down. And as he's got to figure out how to get this out of here, a Bodoc runs up, the one that's been watching Odd this entire time, runs up and jumps inside Werner, who is slowly walking away, who now decides to turn around and take on Odd.
Right.
Shots firing, hits the poor guy that just ground the lock off.
Yep.
Hits poor Odd a couple times. Odd gets in the truck, races it out. What do we know? Werner's clinging on the side. Shoots him again, grazes his forehead. Great moment here where he's losing blood, and it looks like he's starting to nod out. Werner jumps into the van as Odd kind of falls out of it, and he realized, oh shit.
Yeah, he's in the wrong seat to steer.
Yeah, hanging on was the wrong decision because it hits the ravine, explosion goes off, fills the ravine full of fire.
Which was a great scene, by the way. The
It was good.
special effects there, the way the fire ran that inside of that ravine was
Very
so
cool.
well done. So
Very
well.
cool. And we pan out to see Odd laying in the dirt. And then we pan back into him being in a hospital.
Yep.
Now, what I failed to mention during this shoot up is because it is so hard not to know this moment that comes through
Yes.
is that the ice cream parlor gets shot up really well or really badly, looking at it that way. And with all the fear and trepidation, Odd checks and Stormy gets up from behind the counter. But it's at this point that you know she would have something to say. She doesn't. And we lead through him in the hospital where no one interacts with Stormy, and she would be one of the first people. She'd probably interact with her before Odd.
Real quick, if you have not seen this and you're listening to this at a later date or watching this at a later date, please fast forward about 30 seconds from now because we don't want to ruin what could be a pivotal point of the ending for you. That being said, Chris, you have 30 seconds. Go.
30 seconds. Several scenes to where he gets his wish. They find a place, they move in together, and he has the happiest couple weeks of eating too much, sleeping too much, waking up in the morning and smiling too much until there's a knock on the door. And it's the chief and his wife and his friend. And it says, the coroner has released her body. It's time.
Yeah, it literally the conversation starts literally with William Defoe saying, "Odd, it's time. It's been too long. You have to come out now."
Yep. And they come in and they just said, she's here, isn't she? And poor Odd has a moment with her it rips your heart out in the movie. It rips your heart out in the books.
Yeah, it does.
And yeah, he has to say goodbye because it's her time to move on. And she flutters away in the wind as butterflies.
Yeah, such a beautiful moment. Um, eh, we saw this same similar thing happen earlier in the movie when the first girl that we walked into when she kissed Odd on the forehead and walked across the pool
Right.
and dissipated out, right? And that's the same thing that happened with Stormy. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. As much as I love this movie with all of its horror elements and everything going on, the relationship between Stormy and Odd is what kept me coming back. So
It's great.
it was a
They
punch.
they play on that from the beginning that they're destined to be get together. They were
Yep.
told that by the genie mummy at a
By the big genie mummy.
right, exactly, right next to Big. Tom Hanks got his wish from the next, thing over. But yeah, they were told they were destined together. In the book, they have matching birthmarks,
Yes.
which mean they were destined together. There's a beautiful thing where it shows Odd rolling up on Las Vegas, which is where Stormy wanted to go. And he was like, "It's full of bad people and dead people. I'd be too busy." And it shows him looking upon Vegas, and it says life is a boot camp. We have to earn our way to the next life. The training is unnecessarily painful, though.
Yes.
And isn't that the truth?
Such a great,
You
great,
go
great.
through life in order to get to the next one, and he has much to do, and that's where the books take off with some great stories.
And which is why he went to Vegas, right? Because because it's going to put him into a situation where he has a lot to do to help people,
Right.
so he doesn't wallow in
Stay busy.
in his misery. So,
Yep.
all right. So here comes the fun part.
Interesting.
On a scale from 1 to 10, where would you put now? It's going to be hard for us because we're both fans of the book. Where would you put the movie?
Very. I wouldn't say true adaptation, but a very good adaptation
Very good.
from the
Yep.
written word. Give it credit. The characters and their chemistry perfect from page to picture.
Yep.
So that being said, I'll give this movie a solid 8. It's a love story though. Um, horror rom. Like it's not a rom com.
Ooh, I like
Horror
that.
rom.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's good.
little horror, little romance.
Forum.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
definitely a kick right in the feelers.
that definitely is. So we've had a couple of those lately where we were watching stuff and me and you're both like,
Indeed.
man, that was a punch in the gut on that movie.
Indeed.
I'm with you on this. I don't know that I can really say it's. Yeah, yeah, I can
I
say
give
it's.
it the 8 because I haven't watched this in probably 7, 8 years, and it's just as good as the movies that are coming out because the effects really didn't age.
Yeah, I agree, and the story is good, and the characters are good. The acting is really well. I mean, I honestly believe. Okay, so this is just me. Had this movie had the proper release, had it had the proper what's the word I'm looking for?
Budget,
Not
maybe
budget,
not so much budget, but marketing campaign.
exactly.
Actually had some backing from the movie industry itself, Hollywood.
Exactly. I think that had that, happened, then, we'd be having a completely different conversation about this because you and I both, we love the book, so we knew it. Like I said at the beginning, if you're a fan of Dean Koontz, you know about this character, even if you didn't know about the movie.
Mhm.
Um, I keep in all my advertisement to get here this week. I have been going, hey, this thing is a hidden gem because most of the people that I talk to about it have no clue what it is.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that were clued into this one because it was. I mean, I don't think it did it do a box office of anything like maybe $1 million.
No, it lost money. It
Yeah.
absolutely lost money, but that's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with the
Hey.
fact that it lost money. I just think that this really should get that. This should be a cult status movie. I mean, it really should be, and unfortunately, not
Yeah.
enough people know about it. And so, my homework to all of our Talking Dead is let someone know about this movie. Let them know that it's a free watch on Tubi. It just you don't. It's not going to cost you anything to sign up. It's not going to cost you anything to watch it.
Nope. Just throw it on.
Just throw it on. So where would we put Odd Thomas on our shit list, sir?
Whew. Um.
I know this much. It's going to be above Witch and Blood Red Sky. Other than
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
we're wide
Definitely.
open.
Definitely. As far, I mean, see, that's the thing. For movie wise, I really enjoyed this.
I
It's not quite horror adjacent like we were talking pre show.
mhm.
But it is. It's that horror romance.
Yep.
So it's on our list. It's going to be a little difficult.
All right. We're taking Zombievers out of it because you and I both know Zombievers is in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Um,
True. True.
is it better than Prince of Darkness?
I don't think so. Um,
Okay.
strictly horror related.
Yeah.
Uh, it's hard to place because I feel like it doesn't quite fit with a lot of things on here because of that.
I would say if I for me personally,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm not placing this one, you are, but if
Okay.
I were, I would say 20. I would put it right above the gate for myself. But I know the gate has a special place for you.
Yeah.
Um,
I would probably put it between Prince of Darkness and Frankenhooker
Okay.
because I like the Prince of Darkness. I it's part of the Carpenter's Apocalypse kind of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a solid movie, but our shit list doesn't mean shit when it comes to our rating for a movie.
And to be honest with you, if you said to me put it between Frankenhooker and Sharknado, you'd get no argument from me. Um,
LG, I'm sorry. I would never. You want to talk Sharknado 2? A little better than the first because it leaned into the campy. Sharknado 1 was Ian Ziering. You're killing me.
I also would not have a problem with putting it right below Sharknado and putting it between Sharknado and
Like I
Back.
said, it's weird to put this in our list
A
because
strange spot.
great movie, but it's also it's a sad romance kind of thing in the midst of a horror.
Yes, we do. LG.
We do
Oh,
love you. We just don't
okay.
love Sharknado.
Uh, no, I guarantee you, there's stuff that I like that you don't. So
Hey, listen, Sharknado is in like good company for
yes,
one, and
yes.
two, way above the shit of our shit list.
Oh, absolutely. Although, as we've already said, zombie versus
Yeah,
up.
it's
Um, at least it's not down here with Viking Wolf.
right. Or which?
Yeah. So there's
Right.
that. All right, so we're gonna switch out, and once we do, it's locked in place. Is it locked? It is locked in place.
Blink.
All
We're
right.
locked.
All
We're
right.
locked in.
So we are right now at 1 hour 6 minutes. I think we did a pretty good job talking about this one, and again we spoiled it, but it's from 2013. Get over it.
Truly. And pick up the books. This story goes on, and the books are I really love the first three.
Yep.
The fourth and fifth I got to reread again because I don't remember much of them. I
Yep.
went through fast, but great story. Love the character. He has some great adventures after this,
Yes.
and yeah. So I'm kind of excited. I want to go find my paperbacks and break them out again and start reading.
I actually read Odd Thomas, the first one, a second time earlier this year.
Nice.
Just for just I saw it at
Yeah.
a used bin and I picked it up. It's like I'm gonna reread this. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the character. I just do.
It's fun.
Uh,
It's fun for Kuntz too, because Kuntz does a. I love Kuntz style. It was him and King
yeah.
were like the two that led me through
Yes.
all of my literate years for
Or,
horror.
or illiterate years, depending on how you look at it.
Right. But there are so many good stories from each of them. I actually own more Kuntz books than I do King books, which says a little something. Because I was,
Does it?
what's that?
I said, or does it?
Well, I might have said it already. But yeah, great story. So yeah, I would suggest if you're into reading, check them out. Good story.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Many
Uh,
adventures.
I'm sorry, you said
Many adventures.
many adventures. Yes. Again love the book, love the stories. Think that it's a fantastic fantastic character, fantastic character arc. So, yeah, Tina, you're with us. That's where we're at. I'm actually going through the Dark Tower series again. This is my second time all the way through, and I'm audiobooking this time. So, loving it, having a great time,
Might have to
having a
do
great
that.
time. Yep. And that being said, Chris, is there anything you'd like to say, everyone, before we
Yeah,
sign off tonight?
absolutely. You could go to your computer, go up to the little address bar and type in bio.link/graverev. That's GRAVEREV. And that'll take you to our link where it will give you a passage to all of our socials, our Facebook, our Insta, our Twitter, Twix, X. One day I'll get it right. Yeah, it's been a while and I still say it. It happens. So Twix, our TikTok, an email to write in. Tell us you've got suggestions for movies, for horror related items you'd like to see us talk to about on Tuesdays, or a
Mhm.
movie you'd like to see us do live here on Thursdays. There's all kinds of stuff in there, including a link to our merch store, which has some great items in there, some two-sided shirts, grave reviews. And come check us out on Tuesdays and Thursday nights,
Yep.
where we release all the content. Maybe there'll be more content in the future.
Like maybe next Thursday when we're talking about Brightburn.
Brightburn.
That's
What if
gonna be a fun one.
Superman was a sociopathic kid? Love it.
This is Brightburn to me is pre um even though it's not, I don't think timeline wise, but it's like Homelander as a child.
Right.
If they just let him free. So yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out Brightburn. We'll be talking about that next week. Great cast, a really fun story. I think you guys will like this one a whole lot. And yeah, and next Thursday is another celebration for us, and that's our co-host Chris's birthday.
It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. But I couldn't do that movie because somebody else did it already.
Well, you chose Brightburn.
Somebody had to have their birthday first.
Yeah, well,
Ah,
in
it's
case
all
I'm,
good.
I'm
I
old.
choose Brightburn. I own that movie. So
He said, "You know what? For my birthday, I'm gonna do one that I own and that you have to pay for it."
right.
And I went, "Okay,
I'm
okay."
like, are you okay with this? Because
Yeah. Anyway, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as we always like to say as we sign off, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, whether you're here in the chat live now or you're catching this on second play. I will say this: try to come to the live channel, live broadcast on Thursday evening, 7:30 Eastern, if you can. Our Talking Dead, as we call our chat room, these guys, they are some of the finest people on the planet. They don't bite much when you first come in. They might nibble a little bit, but that's only because they're kinky that way. I mean that's just the way they are.
right,
Uh,
kooky,
they're
kooky.
kooky, not kinky. That's why I misspoke. They're kooky that way.
Right.
So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for seeing us. And as we always like to say, as we're signing off, ladies and gentlemen, may all your nightmares be groovy. Have a great night, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.